So I got the 6.4 out, had a misfire on cylinder number 4, and as you can see there, we have got a little torch mark in the cylinder wall, and the piston is cracked, and then, the hole in the piston. So probably what happened, he had an injector put in this hole, and then drove it back from the other side of the state. But anyway, I don't think it was an injector. I think probably what happened is the piston just kind of gave up the ghost and cracked, and then the fire started blowing through it until eventually it wouldn't, you know, no compression, no fire, and just started pumping fuel and huffing and puffing out the oil fill. So we're just going to short block this thing because. So we've got our 6.4 short block assembled, got the heads on it. We replaced the rocker arms. And one thing I always do is I'm sure that they did this because it came with an oil pan and it's got some oil in it, is pre-oil it. But I went ahead and did that, put the oil filter on it. The turbo mount was off of the block and that's open under there. I just ran the oil out of the turbo tube right back into the engine, crank it, make sure you're getting oil, pre-oil everything. And then when I get it back in there, before I actually start it, I'll crank it again to fill the oil filter up. And because I don't want to start it, it won't be dry, but I want to make sure that my oil pressure is right there, you know, pretty immediately. The other thing I'll do is I'll turn the fuel pump on and bleed the fuel system out so that it does, it is going to want to start up rapidly. And then the next thing we'll do, after we bring it up to operating temperature, there's no break in on the cam per se. Roller, it's a roller cam, but you still shouldn't idle it, but we'll fast idle it up to, operating temperature, and then we'll go out and drive it and, do the best that you can do as far as break-in goes for the rings. I mean, they have a steel ring for the upper ring, but still, you need to finish that machining process and go out and make sure the rings get seated good. What you want to do, not necessarily not wide open throttle. And on a truck like this, it's heavy, so you're going to be getting into the throttle. You want to build some cylinder pressure and force that upper ring out against the wall, because these are tapered upper rings, and what'll happen is that combustion pressure will get behind it and push it out against the wall, and that'll bring down those peaks in the cylinder honing. And I'm not sure what kind of finish they put on here. I don't have any reason to have a profilometer, so I can't really check it to see what it is, but we're just trusting in them, in their machining. One of the problems with these really is, and I'm not saying anything bad about anybody, but I mean, basically, this is just a mass produced, you got a bunch of parts, and yeah, this look, I mean, I'm not really sure exactly what the procedure is. I would hope it would be as good as, an individual would hand build one and take that kind of care. But from what I've seen of these short blocks, they're really not, Um, so we're just going to trust their work and let Ford have the warranty on this. If it was a 6.0, sure, I'd do it all day long. Then I know what I have. But on a 6.4, these things are such garbage. I mean, literally, that we're going to let them have the warranty. So anyway, we're going to get this in there and do what I said we're going to do, and then, put a few miles on it, and then we'll get it back to the customer, and hopefully it'll live, long, happy life, and they will take proper care of it, which I'm pretty sure they will. So, because, it's not cheap. So, anyway, uh, I might come back when I get it running, or we might just get on to something else. We got some 6 liters that we're going to build here, and we need to, we're waiting on a machine shop. But as soon as we get one of those back, we'll get going on it and assemble it, and I'll show you how I do things. And I'm sure people do things differently, but I don't care. I do things my way, and it's successful. So anyway, thank you. So we got our 6.4 in, our short block. Turned out nice. Runs great. We're about ready to ship it. We went and test drove it, and then we topped all the fluids off, made sure we didn't have anything leaking. Like I said, runs good. Let's see. I haven't started it today, so let's see if it starts. And there we go, hitting on all 8. So when you've had the fuel system apart on a 6.4, they can be a little bit of a challenge to bleed them out, because you need to get all the air out of the return up to the fuel cooler. And if you don't have that pressure, you know, the supply pressure at the pump, it's not going to start. So generally what I do, oh, I see I need to put the cap back on there, but I'll just go ahead and pull that Schrader out, and then I'll take the scan tool and fire the pump up, and I'll just let her run, and you know, put a clear tube on it, and fill up my coffee can, a plastic coffee can that I have. You know, usually fill that up 2 or 3 times until I don't get any air out of there, and then put the Schrader back in and run the pump for another, you know, 2-3 minutes. And then generally, you know, 99.9% of the time it's going to fire up, and you know, you're not burning the starter up that way. I did pre-oil this thing, throw the starter on it after I got the heads on it, and you know, got it pretty much built up to put back in. And before I started it, I actually ran the starter again and filled the oil filter, and you know, I could tell when the oil filter got full when it actually had oil pressure, because the cranking speed slowed down. So I wanted to make sure that I had oil everywhere before I started it. I did end up changing the rocker arms, replacing the rocker arms, because this thing had more miles on it than we thought, and of course they're always shot. So we got a new set of rocker arms, we've got a new short block, the head's checked out just fine, and hopefully it will go out there and live a long, happy life for them. It is a 6.4 though. So anyway, this one's done. So thank you very much.